G'day, this is a video to show you how to post from your ledgers into a trial balance. This is following on from my earlier video which showed you how to post from a general journal. So in the general journal where I showed you how to post these entries into the ledgers, and you'll note that I've used a columnar format. Just to recap, I had a number of entries to all these accounts, and the bank account you can see here was the biggest account, or the one that I used the most. Just to recap what a columnar account looks like and how it works. So on July the 1st I had capital coming into the business, so I had a $20,000 balance. You'll see on the 5th I used up some money, so I had a credit going to this account, but importantly my total remaining credit balance here was $19,900, and so on. You can see it goes up when you've got debits and it goes down when you've got credits, and it ended up being with a debit balance of $18,900. Now, in relation to the next step in our accounting process, once we have posted our entries to our ledger, we want to find out, we actually want to summarize that information, finding what the final bank account or final balance is of each account. So for that purposes we use a trial balance, and here is one that's set out, and I'm going to show you how to take the balances from there into here, and that is illustrated to you in page 57 of the text. So that's followed through the same exercise that I started with before. You will note that in this previous question I had to also work out what my chart of accounts was. It's a way of organising accounts in a logical order and give each account a discrete number, but all the revenue accounts start with a 1, expenses 2, and so on and so forth. You can see I had more assets and less liabilities and owes equity and so on. So that is the basis that you use to construct your trial balance. You can see here I've got the account number, they go up in numerical order, and there they are there. So all my revenues, expenses, assets, liabilities, and owner's equity accounts are in that order. So that's the reason why we use a chart of accounts to have that order in your trial balance. Every trial balance has got the name, the date as at, the account number, the account, debit and credit balance. So similarly, what you do in terms of the process for this to actually construct a trial balance, and that is to go through and find the final balance of your each account in your ledger. So in this instance I'm going to transfer 5,000 credit to the credit side here, and similarly that says 100 credits, so I'm going to go and do that, and so on. So the bank account was $18,900, but it wasn't debit, so you've got to be very careful when you do this that you put it on the right side, on the correct side should I say. So accounts receivable, you can see it's a $3,000 debit, and so on. So it's just a matter of transferring all of these accounts to your trial balance like I'm doing. I'm just going to stop and complete it and come back to you in a tick. Okay, back again. So I have put all the amounts from the final balances of each account into my trial balance. Now what I've got to do, I've got to make sure that both sides are equal, and if they're not, I've made a mistake. So I've got an amount there. If I then add up the other side as well, okay, so I've got both amounts equal, and that in the first instance highlights that I have done the process correctly, and if that's the case, then you can be satisfied that you've done a good job. Now there are some instances where I can still get a balancing figure where they are the same, but there can still be a mistake. and that's given to you on page 58. Now I can still I can still get the right amount if I, for example, have missed a whole transaction. I've missed out this whole transaction, so that 100 might not be there. Therefore, those balances will be different by $100, but it wouldn't be correct. But the trial balance would still be balanced. I may have done a silly mistake and entered this twice. So, for example, this bank and service fee revenue, I may have put it in twice. And if I put it on the right side and do my process correctly, it would still add up to the same amount. Similarly, if I had entered an item incorrectly, for example, if I take this bank and drawings and I may have put capital and bank or something like that that's incorrect, or I could have had two totally different incorrect accounts. If I put them on the debit and credit side correctly and process it through, it will still be an incorrect balance, but the two balances will be the same. What it shows is that you've done the process of going from posting from a general ledger to the general journal to the general ledger, and then finding your final balances and done your maths correctly. That's what that shows, but you can still have those mistakes. So I would ask you to note the reasons why the balances can still be equal, but the trial balance itself could be incorrect. Here's a list of the errors that won't be disclosed, but the balances will be the same. The one entry I didn't talk about before is that I could have a total stuff up and have an incorrect posting, but as long as I've got the debit and credit working, then the balance will be the same, but obviously the balance itself would be incorrect. So hopefully that's been useful to you. So I've shown you how to post from the individual ledger accounts to here to get the final balances, and highlight the fact that even though you got the right balance, there may be still some errors there. Thanks for listening.